episode 9 of And Just Like That Season 3, titled Present Tense, is exactly that, an episode soaked in the kind of emotional tension that builds when you try to patch up a past that's better left alone. And while it's painful to watch at times, it also delivers a strangely satisfying emotional release. The big news: Carrie and Aidan are done, for real this time. But this breakup doesn't feel like a tragic love story ending. It feels like freedom. If you've been hoping Carrie would finally step out of the emotional hamster wheel, this episode is your moment. Let's be real, we all knew this wasn't going to last. Aidan's been acting weird ever since he came back into Carrie's life. The very first red flag: that wild jacket he wore when he rolled back into town. It was more than a fashion crime. It was a metaphor for how off everything about this relationship felt from the jump. And then came his refusal to step foot in her old apartment, which pretty much screamed, "I haven't forgiven you yet." Asking her to wait 5 years while he sorted out his stuff in Virginia. Please. This was a ticking time bomb. And in episode 9, it finally explodes. Carrie has every right to be frustrated. She'd asked Aidan to respect her work boundaries with Duncan, her downstairs neighbor and writing buddy. It wasn't a huge ask, honestly. But Aidan completely ignored it. One morning, Carrie finds him casually sipping coffee with Duncan in the garden, acting like it's totally normal. Carrie's face says it all: shock, annoyance, betrayal. Then Aidan starts picking on Duncan about smoking a pipe, which, okay, fair question, but still, not the time, dude. You could feel Carrie's secondhand embarrassment. It's a miracle she didn't end things right then and there. And in a rare moment of deep honesty, Carrie opens up to Seema. She says Aidan's behavior makes sense because he still doesn't trust her. Not after what happened with Big years ago. That old betrayal still haunts their relationship. And once she says it out loud, you can just tell she knows. This can't go on. Still, she's not ready to confront it just yet. Aidan's finally in New York for more than a weekend, and she's trying to hold on to what little hope remains. But the universe, or maybe just some really good writing, isn't going to let her dodge this one. Things get worse when Aidan shows up uninvited during one of her writing sessions with Duncan. Carrie stops him at the door, tells him she's working, and she won't be home until late. But Aidan won't take the hint. He insists on making dinner for all 3 of them. She's clearly not into the idea, and finally tells him to leave. Aidan gets upset and storms out, leaving expensive steaks just sitting on the counter. Later, when Carrie comes home, she tries to smooth things over. But Aidan shuts her down with a petty comment about her smelling like smoke. It's insulting. It's condescending. And it's the final straw. Carrie finally reaches a breaking point. She goes to the guest bedroom instead of sleeping beside him. And when Aidan knocks and tries to guilt her into coming back to bed, she stays firm. She's not doing this dance anymore. The next morning, the tension is thick. They argue about Duncan, about trust, about all the unspoken resentments that have built up. Carrie calls Aidan out. This isn't about Duncan. This is about how Aidan still doesn't trust her. That trust was never rebuilt, and now it's clear that maybe it never will be. Later, Aidan texts her to meet for lunch, and Carrie agrees. But there's no awkward small talk or soft opening. They dive straight into the truth. Aidan admits he still has trust issues. And that's when Carrie hits him with the painful reality. The word have means those issues never went away. They're not in the past. They're in the present. She reminds him that she hasn't done anything to deserve this suspicion. She hasn't cheated. Meanwhile, Aidan literally slept with his ex-wife not long ago. But Carrie doesn't even throw that in his face. Instead, she just yells at him to stop punishing her for something that happened years ago. When Aidan follows her out of the restaurant, she finally lets all of her emotions out. She yells at him, tears in her eyes, about everything she's done to make this relationship work. She moved out of her apartment. She agreed to wait 5 years. She gave everything. I was 100% in, she says, and Aidan catches it. Was. She corrects herself, but not really. She meant it. She can't give more than she already has, and it still wasn't enough. That's when the two of them realize this is the end. Aidan says he really thought they could make it this time, and Carrie just stands there holding him. It's emotional, but it's not sad. It's clarity. Back home, she tosses out those Virginia postcards. That chapter is closed. She puts on a cute little black dress and heads out for dinner with her girlfriends. The music swells. Taylor Swift's How Did It End plays. But this isn't a breakup ballad. It's a freedom anthem. Carrie Bradshaw is finally done with Aidan. This isn't heartbreak. No. While the Carrie and Aidan drama takes center stage, the rest of the gang only gets a few scenes. This episode is mostly about wrapping up that exhausting on-again, off-again romance. But there are still a few other stories in motion. Miranda's subplot is probably the most touching of the side plots. Joy, her new flame, notices a missing bottle of gin in Miranda's apartment. Miranda panics and tries to make up a story, but then decides to tell the truth. She's an alcoholic, and she can't have alcohol in the house. She's afraid this will scare Joy away. Their relationship has been light and fun so far, and this is a serious thing to drop. But Joy surprises her. She opens up about her own baggage, self-hatred, and emotional struggles. It's actually a beautiful moment of mutual vulnerability. Both women decide there's space in their relationship for each other's mess. It's soft. It's real. And it might be the healthiest relationship Miranda's ever had. Sorry, Chi. Meanwhile, Seema is still caught in her weird deodorant drama. Yep, still. Her boyfriend Adam wants her to use rock crystals instead of regular deodorant, and somehow that's lasted 2 episodes. Now she's got a swanky new office space. We still don't get how she affords any of this, but she needs clients. Her new assistant, who used to work for Ravi, books her a big lunch meeting uptown. But the crystal deodorant fails her, and she has to resort to an emergency travel deodorant in her purse. That's it. That's the plot. Welcome to, and just like that, where deodorant is character development. Charlotte and Harry are back with their delightful awkwardness. Charlotte's still dealing with vertigo, and during a sweet moment celebrating Harry's first post, catheter P, she faceplants on the floor. Harry tries to help, but between her dizziness and his swollen balls, it's chaos. It's a small scene, but it delivers some solid physical comedy, and honestly, we needed the laugh. Elsewhere, Herbert is apparently worried about his weight because the election is coming up, and Lisa's only advice is to yell, "Take Ozempic." at him? It's not deep. It's filler. After last week's more interesting developments, this subplot feels like a throwaway. Anthony and Giuseppe have their own mini soap opera happening. Anthony's still not comfortable with how young Giuseppe is, and Gia, Giuseppe's mother, played by Patti Lupone, finally tells him off over a plate of risotto. She ditches the Italian act and switches to a full-on Buffalo accent as she calls Anthony an old man and tells him to stay away from her son. It's chaotic, hilarious, and oddly satisfying. She tells Giuseppe he's welcome back home whenever, but she's done supporting his life in New York. And just for fun, Andy Cohen pops up again as a shoe salesman. This time he's not just a background extra. He has a name, Daniel, and everything. Yes, this is a throwback to Sex and the City Season 6, and yes, we love a good Easter egg. At the end of the day, Episode 9 is all about Carrie's moment of truth. It's been a long journey. Years of they with Aidan, tons of emotional baggage, and a whole lot of self-doubt. But now, finally, she sees it for what it is. This isn't a sad breakup. It's a breakthrough. And just like that, Carrie Bradshaw chooses herself.